A very warm welcome to all the learners in MOOCs of Energy Resources and Conversion Processes. Today we are going to discuss various renewable energy and their scenario in India and world. I am Dr. Shweta Tripathi, Assistant Professor in Mechanical Engineering, School of Engineering and Technology, Indira Gandhi National Open University, New Delhi. As we all know that energy plays a vital role in the economic development of all the countries. We had discussed that we generate the electricity, heat and power from various energy sources. We had already discussed the various conventional energy sources and nuclear energy, and we have understood that as fossil fuels are depleting and creating more pollution, causing global warming, and also since energy demand is increasing day by day, energy production from renewable energy resources become the best solution in the present condition, as renewable energy sources are non-exhaustible, clean and green energy. What are renewable energy resources, non-renewable energy resources? We had already discussed in our previous modules. So if we talk about the world scenario of this renewable energy, based on the REN21's 2017 report, we could say that renewables contributed 19.3% to humans' global energy consumption and 24.5% to their generation of electricity in the years 2015 and 16 respectively. This energy consumption is divided as 8.9% coming from traditional biomass, 4.2% as heat energy from modern biomass, geothermal and solar heat, and 3.9% from hydroelectricity, and the remaining 2.2% is electricity from wind, solar, geothermal and other forms of biomass. If we talk about the investment, the worldwide investment in renewable technologies amounted to more than $286 billion in the year 2015. In 2017, worldwide investment in renewable energy amounted to $279.8 billion, with China accounting for $126.6 billion or 45% of the global investments, the United States for $40.5 billion and Europe for $40.9 billion. Globally, there are an estimated 7.7 million jobs also associated with the renewable energy industries, with solar photovoltaics being the largest renewable employer. If we talk about these renewable energy systems, they are rapidly becoming more efficient also and cheaper also, and their share of total energy consumption is increasing day by day. As of 2019, more than two-thirds of worldwide newly installed electricity capacity was renewable. You would see that the growth in consumption of coal and oil could end by 2020 due to increased uptake of renewables and natural gas. We are now reducing our dependence on fossil fuel like coal, oil and natural gases as well. At least 30 countries around the world already have renewable energy contributing more than 20% of energy supply. If we talk about renewable energy markets worldwide, they are projected to continue to grow strongly in the coming decade and beyond it. Some places, and at least if we talk about the two countries, Iceland and Norway, they are generating all their electricity using renewable energy already, and many other countries have set a goal to reach 100% renewable energy in the future. we could expect that at least 47 nations around the world already have over 50% of electricity from renewable energy sources. What are the advantages of these renewable energy sources? We could say that renewable energy is environmental friendly, renewable energy is perpetual, it is a clean source of energy, it is available locally, we are not depending upon others, it is well suited for decentralized applications. We also know that because the fossil fuels are going to deplete, to conserve these fossil fuels, we need an alternative energy. So these are the various advantages of renewable energy. Let us see these renewable energy resources in the prospect of India. What are their prospects in India? So we will discuss one by one each type of renewable energy resource and its Indian scenario and what are its advantages and disadvantages. We have talked about the application of renewable energy worldwide, and we could say that by 2040 renewable energy is projected to equivalent to coal and natural gas electricity generation. Several jurisdictions including Denmark, Germany, the state of South Australia and some US states have achieved high integration of various renewables. For example, in 2015, wind power met 42% of electricity demand in Denmark, 23.2% in Portugal, and 15.5% in Uruguay. Interconnectors enable countries to balance electricity systems by allowing the import and export of these renewable energy. There are many innovative hybrid systems that have emerged between various countries and regions to collaborate and to balance this electricity demand and supply. Solar water heating makes an important contribution to renewable heat in many countries, most notably China, which has 70% of the global total, that is 180 gigawatt-hour. Most of these systems are installed on multi-family apartment buildings and meet a portion of the hot water needs of an estimated 50 to 60 million households in China. Worldwide, total installed solar water heating system meet a portion of the water heating needs of over 70 million households. The use of biomass for heating continues to grow as well. If we talk about the Sweden, national use of biomass energy has surpassed that of oil. Direct geothermal for heating is also growing rapidly. Bioethanol, it is widely used in USA and in Brazil. Biodiesel, which is produced from oils or fats using trans-esterification process, is the most common biofuel in Europe these days. So we are seeing that worldwide this renewable energy sources, various renewable energy sources are increasing. Every country has a particular resource available. If we talk about the Sweden, biomass is available there. If we talk about China, solar is available there. So whichever energy resource is available there, they are making use of it, they are fully utilizing it. If we talk about the India has many renewable energy resources. Different region has different renewable energy resource. If we talk about the India ranks second position in terms of population. So it is quite obvious that our energy requirement is also more. Our population is 18% of world's overall population. And to increase in standard of living and population in India makes India to rank 4th place in consumption of energy in the globe as well. Our energy consumption is more, but the geographical location of India is such that we have enough solar energy, we have enough wind energy, we have biomass energy as well. So we will discuss the various renewable energy resources and their prospect in India, their availability in India, and how much we are going to convert it into the useful form. What is the installed capacity in India, how much we are using, we will discuss it right now. If we talk about the Indian Renewable Energy Plan, India is running one of the largest and most ambitious renewable capacity expansion program in the world. In 2019 at UN Climate Summit, India announced that it will be more than doubling its renewable energy target from 175 gigawatt to 450 gigawatt by 2022 of renewable energy. New renewable electricity sources are projected to grow massively by near-term 2022 targets, including a more than doubling of India's large wind power capacity, and it is almost 15 times increase in solar power from April 2016 to that of now. These targets would place India among the world leaders in renewable energy use and place India at the center of its Sunshine Countries International Solar Alliance project, promoting the growth and development of solar power internationally to cover use of solar power more. And there are about more than 120 countries are participating in this International Solar Alliance project, and India is also the one of the country in this. India has set a new target of achieving 100 gigawatt of solar power, 60 gigawatt of wind power, and 10 gigawatt of biomass, and 5 gigawatt of small hydropower by 2022. In terms of meeting its ambitious 2022 targets, according to the data of 31st March 2017, wind power was more than halfway towards its goal, while solar power was below 13% of its highly ambitious target, although expansion is expected to be dramatic in the near future. Bioenergy was just above 80% marks, while small hydropower was already 85% of the way to meet its target. Overall, India was 33% towards meeting its 2022 renewable installed power capacity target of 175 gigawatt. Now let us see the hydroelectric power. We call it hydel power also, hydel energy also, hydel, hyd from hydro, L from electricity. So it is the electricity or energy generated from water. Hydro means water, and it is known as hydroelectricity energy. In one of our module, we will discuss it in detail how the power is generated from hydroelectricity. Every detail we will discuss. Here we are just discussing that how much we are going to develop and what is the condition of India. Unlike most countries, until 2019, India also did not count large hydropower towards renewable energy targets, as hydropower was under the Ministry of Power instead of Ministry of New and Renewable Energy. This system was changed in 2019, and the power from large hydropower plants is since also accounted for. This was done to help the sale of the power from the large hydropower plants, as this reclassification has made such plants able to sell their power under the Renewable Energy Purchase Obligation. Under the Renewable Energy Purchase Obligation, various distribution companies of the states have to source a certain percentage of their power from renewable energy sources. And this power from renewable energy sources is under two categories. One is for solar and one is for non-solar. The power from large hydropower plants are now classified under the non-solar renewable energy category. If we talk about the advantages and disadvantages, the advantages of hydropowers are the efficiency is high, there is no pollution, there is little waste heat, and it is low cost to the user also. But it has certain limitations because when we construct dam, it may alter hydrological cycle. It can change watershed characteristics as well. And if we see that we have mountains and all, we have some water, we have some dams which are having very high heads, while we are having some plants which are having very low heads. So India is geographically located such as that we have every kind of power plant we are having of hydro. If we talk about the Pagra Nangal Dam, if we talk about the Chachai, if we talk about southern area, then we have the power plants of different heads and they are contributing in generating power. Next is solar power. The energy generated from the sun is known as solar energy, and the power generated by this kind of energy is known as solar power. India receives solar energy equivalent to over 5,000 trillion kilowatt hour per year, which is far more than total energy consumption in the country. But all the energy that we are receiving could not be converted into useful form, we know very well. But we could utilize most of it. The government target of installing 20 gigawatt of solar power by 2022, but it was achieved 4 years ahead of schedule in January 2018 already, through both solar parks as well as rooftop solar panels. Rewa Ultra Mega Solar is the first solar project in the country to break the grid parity barrier. It is one of the largest solar power plants in India which is in working condition. It is an operational ground-mounted, grid-connected photovoltaic solar park which is spread over an area of 1,590 acres, that is 1,590 acres in Rewa district of MP. The project was commissioned with 750 megawatt capacity in December 2019 and is in working condition. 3 of the top 5 largest solar parks worldwide will be in India, including the second largest solar park in the world at Kurnool, Andhra Pradesh, with a capacity of 1000 megawatt. And the first is also in India only, Bhadla Solar Park in Rajasthan, and its capacity will be around 2255, that is 2255 megawatt. India has a wholly 100% solar powered railway station in Guwahati, Assam, you will be knowing, and India's first and largest floating water solar power plant was constructed in Banasura Sagar Reservoir in Wayanad, Kerala. India is also the home to the world's first and only 100% solar powered airport that is located at Cochin, Kerala. There are many advantages of solar energy as the sun is always available, it is always shining, so the solar energy is also always available. There is no pollution, but there are certain limitations. The efficiency of solar plants are less. The initial cost is very high. The solar panels, solar cells, etc. are very costly. Collectors, concentrators, all. And there is lack of storage also. We have to store it. Why? Because in night sun is not available. So these are certain limitations of why the application of solar energy is not increasing that much. But in India, we have already increased the capacity of solar power. Now comes the wind energy. The energy available from the wind is known as wind energy. The Indian Wind Energy Program is one of the largest in the world, having an installed wind capacity of over 800 megawatt. India is ranked 5th in the world with a total wind power capacity of 1080 megawatt, out of which 1025 megawatt have been established in commercial projects. The development of wind power in India began in the 1990s and has significantly increased in the last few years. Although a relative newcomer to the wind industry, compared with Denmark or the US, domestic policy support for wind power has led India to become the country with the fourth largest installed wind power capacity in the world now. As of June 2018, if we talk about the installed capacity of wind power in India was 34,293 megawatt. Mainly it's spread across Tamil Nadu, Maharashtra, Gujarat, Rajasthan, Karnataka, Andhra Pradesh, Madhya Pradesh. Wind power accounts for 10% of India's total installed power capacity. India has set an ambitious target to generate 60,000 megawatts of electricity from wind power by 2022. The Indian government's Ministry of New and Renewable Energy announced a new wind-solar hybrid policy also in May 2018. This means the same piece of land will be used to house both wind farms and solar panels as well. The main advantages of this wind energy is the power in windy areas. Generally, when there is no pollution in the generation of wind energy. But disadvantage is this is highly variable resource. We could not say that how much will be its availability at a particular time. Its efficiency is also very low, and the efficient energy storage is also needed for the wind energy to be cheaper. Then comes the biomass energy. We all know that energy available from firewood and agro residue is known as biomass energy. The traditional chula, which is used in Indian village, is an efficient way of using biomass energy. 90% of the energy in the fuel is lost into the atmosphere. Only 10% of the energy goes to actually heat the pot for cooking purposes. India is an ideal environment for biomass production given its tropical location and abundant sunshine and rains. The country's vast agricultural potential provides huge agro residues which can be used to meet energy needs both in heat and power application. According to IREDA, biomass is capable of supplementing the coal to the tune of about 260 million tons, saving of about Rs 250 billion every year. It is estimated that the potential for biomass in India includes 16,000 megawatts from biomass energy and a further 3,500 megawatts from bagasse cogeneration. Bagasse is generally used for the production of alcohol or ethanol. Biomass materials that can be used for power generation include bagasse, rice husk, straw, cotton stalk, coconut shells, soya husk, de-oiled cakes, coffee waste, jute waste, groundnut shells and sawdust. Gasifiers convert wood, charcoal and other biomass to a combustible gas which may be used to produce electricity. About 1000 megawatts of power can be generated from urban and municipal solid waste and up to 700 megawatts from industrial waste in India. If we talk about the advantages and disadvantages, biomass are natural, they could be reused, and reusing of anything is very attractive, and it gives cogeneration facility also, heating and power generation simultaneously. It is practical for individual farmer. And disadvantages are there are pollution because we are burning something, and when it will be completely burned it will give carbon dioxide, and if not completely burned it will give carbon monoxide and smoke. So the pollution from biomass burners are there. And another thing is transport is difficult because of its moisture content. Its combustion is also difficult. So first we have to dry it. So these are some limitations of biomass. Then comes the biogas. Generally, the energy available from the animal dung and biodegradable waste is called biogas energy. It is in the gaseous form, so we called it biogas. It depends on how much dung can be collected. It can meet the cooking energy needs of nearly 40% of the rural households of the country. There are about 232 million cattle in the country. Even if 1/3 of the dung produced annually from these is available for biogas production and for recycling as farm manure, 12 million biogas plants of family size can be installed. And each biogas plant would save about 1260 kg of fuel wood per year. The rejected organic solid from biogas plants can be used after torrefaction in the existing coal-fired plant to reduce coal consumption as well. In 2018, India has targeted to produce 15 million tons of biogas or bio-CNG by installing 5,000 large-scale commercial-type biogas plants, which can produce daily 12.5 tons of bio-CNG by each plant. It is estimated that amount of waste generated in India will increase at a per capita rate of approximately 1 to 1.33% annually. This has significant impact on the amount of land that is and will be needed for disposal. Economic cost of collecting and transporting waste and the environmental consequences of increased municipal solid waste generation levels. India has a long involvement with anaerobic digestion and biogas technologies. Wastewater treatment plants in the country have been established which produce renewable energy from sewage gas. However, there is still significant untapped potential. Also, waste from the distillery sector, they are also converted into biogas to run a gas engine to generate on-site power. So, many things are going on and many things are also under untapped potential as well. The major drawback of this biogas plants is one is their construction. Limitations is one is their construction, another is the mindset of the people. They are not going to install the biogas plants in their home. They go for the initial cost, and the maintenance cost is also very high for these biogas plants, and generally we don't get the person who could maintain it locally. So these are the limitations why the biogas plants are not popularizing that much. If we talk about 10 to 12 villages, there would be one biogas plant in India nowadays. Then comes the geothermal energy. The energy available from hot dry rocks or hot water springs or natural geysers is known as geothermal energy. There are 4 types of geothermal energy resources: hydrothermal, geopressurized brines, hot dry rocks or magma. Currently, hydrothermal energy is being commercially used for electricity generation and for meeting thermal energy requirements. If we talk about the world scenario, in 1997, the geothermal electricity generation capacity was about 8,000 megawatt and another 12,000 megawatt for thermal applications. Italy, New Zealand, USA, Japan, Mexico, Philippines, Indonesia are some of the countries which are using geothermal energy for electricity generation and thermal applications. Exploration of geothermal field needs knowledge of geology, geochemistry, seismology, hydrology, and reservoir engineering. If we talk about India, the study of geothermal fields started in 1970, and Geological Survey of India has identified 350 geothermal energy locations in the country, that is India. The most promising of these is the Puga Valley of Ladakh. The estimated potential for geothermal energy in India is about 10,000 megawatt. There are 7 geothermal provinces in India: Himalayas, Sona Valley, West Coast, Cambay, Sonabada Tapi, we also call it Sonata, Godavari and Mahanadi. So these are 7 geothermal provinces in India. If we talk about the advantages, the efficiency of this geothermal plant is very high, and initially the cost involved is very low. The major disadvantages is that it is highly local resource. We could not transfer it to anywhere. We have to generate electricity there as well, or power there as well. Then second is, though it is a renewable energy source, but it is non-renewable. We could not identify that when it will be available, when it will not be available. So it is a non-renewable. Once we will consume it, it will not be replenished so easily. It depends upon its cycle, and the cycle is not permanent. That it will be generated in 14 days, it will be generated in 18 days, 1 month, year, we don't know. Then the tidal power. It is the only form of energy which derives directly from the relative motion of the Earth-Moon system, and to a lesser extent from the Earth-Sun system. The tidal forces produced by the Moon and Sun in combination with Earth's rotation are responsible for the generation of the tides. Tidal power, also called as tidal energy, is a form of hydropower that converts the energy of tides into electricity or other useful form of power. A British tidal energy company, Atlantis Resources, is expected to set up a tidal power plant with the capacity to generate over 250 megawatt in the Gulf of Kutch or Hambat. India's first attempt to harness tidal power for generating electricity would be in the form of a 3 megawatt plant proposed at the Durga Duvani Creek in Sundarban Delta of West Bengal, the Gulf of Kutch and Gulf of Cambay in Gujarat, and Ganga Delta in the Sundarbans. The world's largest mangrove are the 3 sites identified as potential areas for tidal power generation in India. Advantages are the source is steady. Another advantage is capable of exploiting tides for maximum efficiency, and disadvantages are duty cycle is low, use modification in coastal environment, and the cost involvement is also very high. Let us summarize whatever we have learned. We have seen that what is the renewable energy scenario in world and India as well for various energy sources. We had seen that there are 30 nations around the world which have already contributing 20% of energy supply by using renewable energy. We have also discussed that renewable energy systems are rapidly becoming more efficient and cheaper, and their share of tidal energy consumption and their share of total energy consumption is increasing. We have also discussed that India lies in the sunny region of the world, and it receives solar energy equivalent to over 5,000 trillion kilowatt hour per year. This is far more than the total energy consumption in the country. We have also discussed the potential of various renewable energy resources from the point of view of India. They were solar energy, wind energy, geothermal energy, hydroelectric energy, biomass, biogas, and tidal energy as well, with their advantages and limitations. In the upcoming modules, we will discuss these energy sources in detail. Each and every energy resource we will go for a week, or at least we will give it a module, and we will discuss it in detail. Thank you very much.